Hey folks, welcome back to the Feature Crew. We are hopping back on to review GPT 4.5 and Claude 3.7 Sonnet. New releases from last week, so we wanted to give them another go. We're going to be taking it through its paces with coding, a little bit of business reasoning, and then we wanted to give them a try at kind of visual endeavors, creativity. We know they're not going to be too good at agentic reasoning. We gave them a test last week. They're not reasoning models, so we're going to try and change it up a bit to give them a bit more of a fair shot. So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
GPT 4.5 still says research preview. I think it's still gated by the pro subscription, and they're kind of making it very obvious. And then we have Claude on the right hand side for testing 3.7 Sonnet. So we're going to go ahead and tee up our coding test this time, which is going to be for city simulation. We've run this prompt before, but we want to see how non-reasoners do with this prompt. So let's see how it goes.
ChatGPT's already done.
ChatGPT is done. So let's see how it is. Okay.
Yep, we're going to give it access to the libraries.
Not bad, but it's not really a city. It's kind of like an island.
It's like Minecraft. It really just has implemented basically like procedural terrain generation. We gave it a Perlin library, which was an accident the first time we did this test, but it actually led to some really cool cities the first time, so we've included it now. But it really this is terrain generation.
Yeah, this is not city simulation at all. That's really strange, actually. Claude's already come back and looks very interesting from the preview.
Okay. Generate a new city.
Disappointing. No. I mean, can we open the console? Let's see if there's any errors. This looked very interesting.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything? So the first shot from both of them, not very impressive. Okay, we'll give them another turn, I think, to see if they can fix up and turn the crank a bit.
So what we realized that Claude actually hit the max message length, and it said that we can continue. So now it's continuing, and then 4.5, we're giving it feedback that it needs to be city-like and that it should really focus on getting the city elements of the prompt that it missed, including clear buildings, traffic, NPCs, all that great stuff. So let's send that off, and then we'll compare them.
Claude 3.7 is on version 5, even though...
Yeah,
it's a strange thing. It seems to be very agentic in the sense that it will just keep on kind of on a self-playing, right? Like, it's like, oh, I'm now doing another version. But did it finish a version? Not...
It's
sure.
unclear what happened. It's like we're going to have to start using the API to test these things because I don't know what they're doing with the models now in the client. And this is, I guess, maybe 4.5 versus like Claude 3.7 Sonnet agent mode, or I don't know. It's unclear. It's actually version 7. Unclear what's happening right now.
Yeah.
This just seems unfair.
Yeah, let's take a look at 4.5.
It's just Minecraft. It's like still Minecraft.
Version 11. It's just continued to go. Like, we haven't really seen a full iteration ? Like, it just keeps going. Like, it's not even stopped to say, hey, you can check the code. It's literally gone to its full message limit twice before even finishing or getting feedback, right?
Shoot, And
then Claude's finished.
This is not...
Just not correct.
Well...
It's a lot of code.
It was continuing mid-file, right? Yeah. Isometric building, isometric tile. It was really attempting something big here.
It just reached the end. Look, this kind of screams to the power of inference time compute.
Reasoners, it's like we're asking it to do a super reasoning heavy task. Okay.
It just kind of fixed itself. We don't know what's going on today. So we see it getting a little bit better, but this is no better than the reasoners, right? Like, this is a bigger model that's way more expensive. It's like 30 times more.
There are two different types of scaling going on here. And I think it's clear that the inference variety is better for this kind of task.
Yeah.
Because Claude was doing so many iterations, we gave 4.5 a couple of iterations, and Claude's iterations never led to success. That was the problem. The final result was always a very confidently bestowed, error-ridden, incomplete file. And so we're going to try to give it just one more shot so we can get something out and get on the board here. Okay. Yeah. So that's one version. It's more of like a Mondrian. Oh, this one. If it had gotten a line, that one probably would have been the best, I think.
Tried to add windows, but the windows weren't attached.
This was its attempt at mobile app vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, that one
was broken.
Oh, that's the last one.
Yeah.
That one.
This one also had cars. So it kind of lost things in between iterations. It was, again, I would call it slightly lazy in the sense that it wasn't coding a lot. You can see Claude, maybe on the other hand, tries to code too much.
Too much, right? Then runs out of context.
It seems
like what's about to happen.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Oh, and he just hit the max length right there.
Claude just finished, thankfully, just in time.
It took 3 full inferences.
Yep, yep. So it's going to be a big file. Let's put it into paste HTML and then hope for the best.
Oh my god.
It is pretty good. I mean, it's actually generated everything. Can we go down?
Oh my god, what's going on in the parks?
Keep like regenerating.
The parks are...
Okay, wait, can you go view mode? And can you switch it?
District view?
Yeah, try that.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay, this is much more like a city sim.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Look at the economy. It's like going through some crazy cycles there.
It's...
Booming, struggling, declining. Oh, whoa.
Happiness.
And look at the... Oh, I love the light effect at night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all a little bit broken, but...
But I mean, in terms of going from the prompt, this is actually pretty impressive. I'm going to have to give coding to Claude in this case. I mean, you know, we've heard a lot of hype around 3.7, and as we use it day to day, it's pretty impressive.
It builds something significantly more complicated here. Like orders more complicated than what's going on the left. There's a full simulation going on here, and even though that isn't super realistic, it's way more complicated, and it's tracking more values than I think any of the other ones we've had in the past.
Try it in Copilot mode, try it with Cursor. It does seem like it's a good model to try with state-of-the-art like edits. It does seem like it can do coding pretty well. All right, should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's do it. Next up, this is a test we've done on the channel before, designed to test business reasoning, and it is a big data dump of information about the early wave of reasoning models, so the O3s and the DeepSeek R1s. The task is to reason over all this data, which includes information about their cost, their capabilities, benchmark performance, and the task is to make a recommendation for a fictional company for how they should implement the different models in sort of their business. We'll see how they do. And they're off.
So both of them are, again, not reasoning models, but they're taking some time to actually process all the tokens. So as we were kind of processing, getting the Google Doc ready to show, we noticed that Claude was kind of broken. It looks like it's just stopped. You know, it says like analyzing. It's kind of tried to... I don't know what it was doing with one of the Python scripts and just stopped. It has been kind of broken, at least in the Claude client.
Yeah.
It's been pretty rough tonight, so we will kick it off again. Both finally got a result. We didn't get any charts at all from 3.7 Sonnet, so we've given the tables that it presented on the right side. GPT 4.5 gave a pretty good chart, honestly. The inference cost performance chart that it's done is actually really good. It was like a lot of actual research was showing on a log scale and how good it goes performance.
I like that it thought through how to present it, right? It's got the log scale, and then I like that it picked, there are a lot of different benchmarks in the data, and so it picked ones where there were information for each of the different models, or as many as possible, right? So that it could have as full of a table as possible. I like that. And, you know, we'll open source these so you can dig through and see if it got all of these right. So, yeah, I think overall pretty solid. So now to compare 3.7 Sonnet's analysis, even as Dylan said, it didn't have any charts. So it had 2 tables. One is just basically the ARC AGI score. So a single benchmark, it latched onto one. And it said that this was the benchmark it was going to use for a cost performance analysis. So potentially helpful. Dylan?
Not bad.
Current model pricing, it just regurgitated some information.
Yep.
Certainly not as helpful, not as aligned.
4.5.
As 4.5.
Yep.
So now to move on to their actual recommendations. 4.5s were pretty short and to the point. They recommend to deploy DeepSeek R1 as the main reasoning engine, especially if you're focused just on reasoning tasks. And then it calls out where language, readability, and safety concerns are secondary. So if you don't care so much about safety, then you deploy DeepSeek.
Yeah.
Then it says for agentic use cases or safety-sensitive critical tasks, use O3 Mini, which I like this, that it pulled out O3 Mini in particular as like the main sort of recommendation amongst the OpenAI models.
But by contrast, 3.7 Sonnet, very long recommendations, and actually quite good. So it's talked about the top tiered model selection. So it's saying use 4.0 Mini because it's so cheap for information extraction, summarization, and basic content generation, which is actually quite true and very good.
Yep.
For mid-tier, deploy O1 Mini or O3 Mini for moderate reasoning, blah, blah, blah. which again is correct. Like you get a lot of performance for cost, and then it's saying for 5% of queries, reserve O1 for mission critical tasks, for high reliability and stuff like that.
This is the correct recommendation.
So it is correct, and I mean it might have just been fixing onto price, but it is at least presented in a great way of saying, 80% 15/5, the whole like 80/20 almost of like for most queries you actually don't need the intelligence, which is true when you actually develop these kind of things. A lot of people will ask not really information heavy or reasoning heavy questions. So it's done actually a great job there. It then even proposed, which I don't think we've seen before, a dynamic model routing system to predict reasoning complexity and then route tasks. So I'm all about this one. That's actually like really good. Like would love to see even more research in this area. It's a great recommendation. It then goes on to talk about DeepSeek strategic considerations. So given it's open source, go ahead, self-host, fine-tune, and create specialized versions, and a little bit about weighting infrastructure and operational costs. But again, quite a good recommendation. Be like, you can actually use R1 in an interesting manner. So
I think that's really what I like here.
Yeah,
is that it's
very reasonable
for all these buckets. It suggested the right one, but then it's also pointing out that DeepSeek has these unique advantages.
So, Sonnet. Honestly, kind of pulling ahead here for the recommendations.
Yeah, recommendations are way better. These might be
probably the best I'd say for this task.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was a bit unfortunate it didn't do Python. It did 2 goes. The first time it did Python, kind of got tripped up.
Anyways, eventually glad it finally got this out in the end, and that it was like some really high quality analysis.
It was. Alrighty. Let's move on to our last one, which is a bit of a creative task where we are going to try to do some visual representations of SVGs. So let's set that up. What we'll do is we'll probably tee off quite a few of those, and we can kind of walk through them as a bit of a slideshow to then compare and contrast how they do with different variants or different topics. So we sent off 3 different things, which you'll see as we go through. Here's the first one, which we talked about, a German Shepherd dog. 4.5 on the left side, a lot cursed.
Right, very cursed. It kind of looks like a bug of some sort.
Yeah.
I kind of hate it. Oh, God. We're going to give it one more attempt on that just as it goes. I mean, I think Claude's on the right is also a little strange. It's almost like parts of it look artistic and then parts of it look kind of cursed as well.
Yeah.
The head in particular. Not sure exactly what's going on there.
So our next prompt is to do with a UFO abducting a cow. So at least from the far out view, it looked pretty impressive on the Claude side. And then 4.5 has done a
not so bad
job. Not as
it's not nearly as detailed. The Claude is actually super impressive.
Yeah,
I mean the cow is mutilated a bit, but I mean, hey, it's fair. It's getting abducted.
Yeah, but it's got the little farmhouse.
There's the classic barn.
I don't
know what's going on over there.
Maybe it's supposed to be a tree or something. But yeah, no, Claude doing a surprisingly good job. Actually,
so in particular,
it's not bad.
It's not bad.
Again, like all these things will have weird kind of quirks and how they overlap and stuff like that. But for such a complicated scene, it actually did pretty decent.
And both of them stayed coherent, looked pretty decent. I kind of like the background here, like the gradient it picked, pretty nice. Yeah, so pretty awesome.
Both not too bad. Our final one is a neon sign saying feature crew, and let's get this up. So looking at Claude on the right, it didn't do it. What? So we also added a feature crew neon sign on a background, and 4.5 has kind of disregarded half of the hard bit of the prompt and just said, "Hey, we chose a cursive style for the handwriting."
Okay, so let's check back on the dogs.
Yep.
Let's preview. Okay, it is kind of coming together. Oh my God, this is staring at me.
That is demonic.
What is going on?
Why has it got a happy face?
Wait, why can't I look away from it?
It's kind of scary. 4.5 just not getting it at all. And then Sonnet, kind of making progress. Kind of looks like a raccoon almost. Not really a dog.
It kind of looks like some Matisse or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, very interesting. You can see its face coming together here.
Yeah,
it's like almost it's one prompt away from really being something. This one is actually terrifying. I'm sorry, we might have to blur this out. For the viewers at home.
Yeah.
This is pretty bad. But
we'll check back on the
signs just to see. Oh, I mean, better. It's not what we wanted, but better.
It's supposed to have the glow. It says
the glow. It says we said neon sign.
Okay. Whoa. I mean, this doesn't look good because the brick looks nothing brick, but at least it kind of got nearly there with the text. Okay.
So as we close out here, we're just letting the models take one more pass at the UFO one since it was the best image. But I think overall it was like, Claude definitely the stronger coder between these two models. I think if you want a better comparison there, you should have Claude 3.7's thinking versus something like an O3 Mini or an O1 on Pro mode. And maybe we should do that soon on the channel to see who's the real king coder. And I think. Let's see, what else am I going to say? In terms of business reasoning, it was solid to see the charts. It was like standard reasoning on the 4.5 side. And then on the Claude side, really interesting conclusions. Unfortunate misalignment in the reasoning portion with the charts. But the conclusions were super useful, so I'm going to give it a pass there. And then in the art, I thought Claude did a slightly better job. I think overall this is where there's maybe the smallest gap between these and the reasoning models. I would be interested to do like a reasoners versus non-reasoners on the art stuff. Anyways, what did you think?
Yeah, a bit the same. Like, kind of disappointed in 4.5 after a second look at it. Like, it really just again they made it obvious it's a research preview, but it's kind of a nothing burger. Like, it's very expensive and doesn't offer anything better really. Like, maybe there's some niche creative things that are better, like not good at the things that we're interested in at least at this moment. And 3.7, actually the model seems relatively impressive. I think it's mainly just the kind of Claude chat UI kind of messing up a bit, because when we use these outside of the chat UI it seems to be rather impressive. So kudos to Claude. It's actually kind of outperformed probably what I expected, and actually is quite good for a non-reasoning model. So yeah, but we'll do certainly more comparisons in the future.
We have videos out for both 3.7 Sonnet and for GPT 4.5. So if you're interested in either of those models on some similar but different tests, check out those videos. And then subscribe to the channel if you're interested to see us do more comparisons, especially Claude against some of the reasoners, some of the coders, and then especially Claude and other reasoner models like in these agentic frameworks. We're going to do some more of those. So as always, let us know what you want to see. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe if you want to follow along as we try out these models. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.